Hey, everybody, welcome to another edition of Sal's House. We're taking it on the road this time, as you see, 29's Kitchen Bar. We are here at the Wehrle Golf Dome, not inside the Wehrle Golf Dome. I'm not hitting balls right now. My son is inside hitting some golf balls. A lot of other people are as well, but we are outside at the 29's Kitchen Bar. Thanks to Chuck Nicosia, who's joining me right here, who runs 29 Kitchen Bar. Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Awesome. We're excited to have you here.
I appreciate it, too. I mean, how about this on the day after Bill's minicamp?
Yeah.
A lot to talk about. The day before the U.S. Open, a lot going on. You got my Yankees on TV coming up here. They're doing a great job against the Kansas City Royals.
They have, what are they, 48 and something, I think, 21, something
One
like
more
that.
win. I think they're playing 700 baseball this deep in the season.
That's
pretty
awesome.
amazing. Who do you follow?
I follow the Yankees.
See, you're a Yankee guy, right? With a name like Nicosia, I would think you're a Yankees fan. Hey, tell us about 29's Kitchen Bar.
Awesome. So, as you said, we're right in the Wehrle Golf Dome. We have a great patio. We're on tonight. We have live music on Tuesdays and Fridays, starting at 5:30. That's all the way booked through October. So we'll have live music every Tuesday and Friday through October. We're planning a big 716 day. We're going to have balloon animals. We'll have face painting. We'll have some giveaways. We'll have live music that day as well. Hopefully rain or shine, we'll have it.
But is that right on July 16th?
Yes, right on July 16th. And we'll be here. And that should be a really great event. We're looking forward to it. We're doing a lot of specials on Thursdays and Fridays. We do steamers. We do steamed clams, 10 for $9.50. We have DJ trivia on Mondays. There's always something going on. We like to call it engagement. We like to have something going on, not just come here, eat and drink, but have something where, there's something going on for you to be involved with. So it's a lot of fun. We hope to see everybody. We hope people can come up and check us out.
Yeah, that's very cool. What kind of music do you guys have out here?
So it's a lot of cover bands, classic rock.
Okay.
We had a group last night. They were a duo. They did great. They played some Reba McEntire. They played some what I would call yacht rock. That was a lot of fun. And they were great last night.
That's awesome. Well, thank you very much. And then what do you guys got for food selections? Obviously, we're here tonight on a Wednesday, and I was just told it's Wing Wednesday, $10 for 10 wings. Come on.
It is $1 Wing Wednesday. We call it Wing Down Wednesday. We pretty much have specials going on. We do $10 burgers on Mondays with $5 drafts. We do Cluckin' Thursdays, which is $2 off all chicken items with $5 drafts. And then, like I said, on Fridays, we do the steamers, but there's always something going on. One of our big sandwiches is the cutlet. It's a chicken cutlet on a brioche bun with arugula, pesto, roasted red peppers. It's delicious. It's an amazing sandwich.
And I know people see it right behind me, but tell everybody where and how to get here, I should say.
So again, we're right next to the Wehrle Golf Dome. If you walk in the Golf Dome, we're off to the right before you head on into the dome. Not too far from the thruway. So 8230 Wehrle Drive.
Thank you very much, Chuck Nicosia. Thanks for having me out. I appreciate it. We got some special guests coming tonight. Appreciate it. We're going to see you inside because I got my drink. We're going to have some wings in a little while.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you very much. That is Chuck Nicosia. It is day number 2 of Buffalo Bills minicamp. I'll be talking about that in a little while. I got a couple special guests. I do want to thank my sponsors here on Sal's House. And you know what? I know we're here at the Wehrle Golf Dome and inside at 29 Kitchen Bar, but of course, Sports City Pizza Pub's been with me from the beginning. Absolutely appreciate them. 1407 Niagara Street in Buffalo. Wings, pizza, great place to watch the games, no matter when that is, any time of the year. I'm already planning trips. I got people coming in out of town to go to Bills games and say, you taking me for wings? I'm like, absolutely. We're going to Sports City Pizza Pub. And of course, right here at 29's, you want to have some golf, you want to do that. Thank you to Sports City Pizza Pub, as always. Got a new sponsor on today. We're going to be talking about them here over the next couple months. How about this? All right, everybody? Fansofbuffalo.com. Fans of Buffalo and fansofbuffalo.com. The Fans of Buffalo website is where you go. It's your premier travel package destination for all of your Buffalo sports trips. They're going to take care of the game ticket, your travel, your hotel, your airfare, tailgating needs, anything you need. Fans of Buffalo is there. You go there. It's one price. You basically go and they're going to take care of everything. So fansofbuffalo.com is where you want to go. That's the website. Thank you very much. Will Bradley and his crew doing a great job. I'm going to tell you a lot about Fans of Buffalo coming up. In the meantime, got a special guest going to join me right now, Jeremy White from WGR Sports Radio 550. Come on over, Jeremy. It's my turn to talk to you. You have me on in the morning. Got a crowd out here. I know. Oh, that's all right. There you go.
Can't take me anywhere.
Never used a mic before, have
That's
you?
right. Never.
I know. Listen, you usually have me on in the morning to talk about the Bills. It's my turn to ask you questions about a lot of things.
All right.
You ready?
What do you want to know?
Okay. Well, you're already dressed. Did you golf today?
No.
You're dressed like you golf today.
Well, I mean, we all have our sponsors. I've got mine, Encore. My buddies at Encore. No, I love those guys. So, I mean, this is wearing a hat to support a friend and, a local company. I mean, I love Encore. So
when was the last time you golfed? When is the next time you will golf?
I played yesterday. I might play tomorrow. Maybe. But definitely Saturday. Because you know how it works. Like Father's Day.
Yes.
Like Father's Day, if you want to golf, you can golf. And how I laid it out for my wife was, I think I want to play Saturday because, Sunday is wake up with the kids, have Father's Day. I don't want to have Father's Day where I wake up and I'm gone until, 11 a.m. So I'm becoming more of a veteran of this dad thing. So play on Saturday, definitely.
Are you still like really into the golf wear? Like you do the green carpet thing, you and Joe now in the morning, WGR Sports Radio 550, Jeremy White, of course. Where did that start? Why is that?
Well, it started because if you go to any golf course anywhere, you'll see that everybody's dressed really well. And then for a little while there, it's actually moved in the right direction. You'd see the PGA Tour, everyone's just wearing white and gray and blue. And the peak of this was actually the match between Allen, Brady, Mahomes, and Rodgers. Mm-hmm. They're all wearing the most boring clothes on earth, and it was just such a missed opportunity. Like these superstars are all playing golf, and they're just wearing nothing. So, bringing attention, raising awareness that there's a lot of good stuff out there to wear. Might as well look good, It's a hobby. Let's look good.
And now your kids are getting a little bit older. Your twins, they're starting to swing clubs?
Yes.
What's that like?
My son swings. My daughter doesn't like the loud noises. Oh. She's afraid of like when drivers get hit out here at the Golf Dome. She wants her earmuffs. So she doesn't love that too much. My son loves to swing, loves to putt. He's a golf addict. He'll watch golf on TV all the time. So he's probably got a future playing, I think. My daughter, once she gets over the sound, we'll see if we get there.
Okay. So, a lot of people are familiar with your story, obviously, and you and Molly and what you went through several years ago, with the quads. And, a couple of years later, you guys get pregnant again and you have twins.
Yes.
And what's that journey been like for you? Kind of obviously the roller coaster of emotions. I don't mean to be emotional here, but,
sure, yeah.
Just kind of get into it a little bit, what that was like for you and her to kind of go through that and then realize again you were pregnant and then seeing that through and seeing the twins grow up.
Yeah. One thing I tell people all the time is it changes what you think the whole process is like, and it makes it not as fun. Right. Like every single test, every single thing we got through the twins and everything was great. One of the things we did along the way was we got a puppy while we were pregnant with the twins. Okay. And we did that because we didn't want to think about everything all the time. Like this dog will take our attention, and that worked perfectly. And now he still takes all of our attention because he's a monster.
Well, you've had 3 dogs, I think, when I've known you.
Yes. We had as many as 4.
Wow.
At one point, because a couple hung on a little longer than they should have. But the dog helped. We got through it. And it's funny, like ultrasounds and all that stuff. Like I can remember growing up thinking about what it must be like to be ready to be a dad and thinking how exciting those ultrasounds were. And then I realized that, man, after so many of them, they are actually really stressful and really taxing. And with twins, we did that. We're pregnant now. Yes. And she had another scan today. And when all the scans are done and, our newest baby is here, I think we're done and we will not miss all the scans and all that stuff. Like it does it. Like it changes everything about the way you view that kind of thing.
So I have to ask, did you think you were done before the new baby?
We were talking about maybe having another one.
Okay.
There was a discussion like, we should, what do you think? Should we do it? And we never actually made an active decision. Turns out we are doing it. Yeah.
And have you announced it's a boy or girl?
It's a girl.
Okay.
Yeah. Not a secret. It's a girl.
So you'll have 2 girls?
2 girls.
What would that be like for you? You thought about it?
Yeah, it'd be great. Yeah. I'm an only child. And one of the things, a lot of my dreams have come true when it comes to family stuff. One of my things I wanted to do was I wanted to raise siblings. And we had twins, so that started that. And to add another child to that mix, like I get to see a dynamic that I never really, I didn't see that growing up. I had friends, I'd go to their houses, there would be brothers over there. So I'd kind of like we latched on to other families, but I always wanted to raise kids and a family. And I'm about to be overwhelmed with that, with exactly that.
It's awesome. You and I we're both kind of older dads, right? Like when we grew up, it wasn't like most dads were a little bit younger, right?
Yeah.
I don't think it's too uncommon now, right? Like I go to the Little League field and I'm like the oldest 10-year-old dad, the dad of the 10-year-olds, right? Yeah. And it's crazy. And I'm 51 years old, but we waited. I didn't have a child till I was 40 years old. But I think they keep you young and it's awesome. And I think it's kind of cool in a lot of ways too.
Yeah. Let's hope they keep you young because I turned 45. This kid will be born when I'm 45. That is old.
be the oldest dad at graduation, when
That's all right.
The senior year in high school. There's no doubt about that.
That's all right.
How are your son and daughter different? Besides not liking loud noises, one likes to swing the club.
You know what? It's funny. Like, they're very stereotypical boy girl. Like, she is about books and princesses and dancing and Taylor Swift and music and colors and sparkles and rainbows. She's into all that stuff. And my son is about monster trucks and swinging golf clubs. And so they are very much like cliche in that regard. In terms of their personality, he's been way ahead of her developmental stages and crawling, walking, running, doing things like that. But she's much more talkative. She's always been ahead of him. So I think a lot of the things that you expect, very normal, they are very much like that. But yeah, I mean, in terms of personality, it's pretty clear pretty early, even if you have twins, that you just have two entirely different kids. I mean, they're fraternal as it is, so they're very different.
I know you grew up near Syracuse, Auburn, New York, and you started in the radio early 2000s at WGR, and you've kind of morphed into this Sabres fan, this huge Sabres fan. You've covered the team, you follow the team, and you talk about the team a lot. And, we've all had, obviously, the last 13 years here. I think you've been the person that people go to for their Sabres feelings in the morning, whether that's good, whether that's bad. So here we are in this spot. I was out at Bill's training camp today. Lindy Ruff and Kevin Adams were both out there today and hanging out. I'm thinking, we've seen this before. We know that, but it just feels like a different vibe with Lindy. What's the vibe with you? Are you good with this? Are you on board with this? How do you think this is going to go?
Yeah. I mean, it's as good an idea as any. And I think that anybody thinking about the nostalgia angle of it kind of has it backwards. The reality is that it's nostalgia for Lindy too. Mm-hmm. And without that, they probably couldn't get a coach this good because they're in rough shape as an organization. They have been. Maybe not as bad as it has been, but them getting a coach this good, it's kind of like if Patrick Kane played for them because he grew up loving you, or why Alex Tuck wanted to come here. They kind of have that with Lindy. He played for the organization and he coached you and he loves it here. So I like that element of it. It is weird though, when we had him on the first day after he's back, or a week later he comes on, and I mean, Howard and I talked to Lindy for, when did I start? 2004, 9 years.
Right.
So I talked to Lindy for 9 years, and then he got fired, which was amazing. Like, holy cow, that actually happened. Mm-hmm. And here, 11 years later, he's back. So, just to say like, hey, Lindy, Howard retired. I'm still here. How you doing? And to hear his voice, just like, I mean, it was like going back in time. It was wild. So I like the idea. I think it's as good an idea as any. Craig Berube, whatever. I mean, I think it's a fine idea.
I did not ask Kevin Adams if he's going to trade the 11th pick, but I'm sitting here thinking he's going to trade the 11th pick. I just said there's too much smoke out there. You guys had Jeff Merrick on the other day from NHL.com, and he was like all in on they're going to trade the 11th pick. And what do you get for that, right? And they're going to try to kind of build this thing out. What did he say? Like, he said, I love his line, no more green apples with this. There are no more green bananas. Now it's yellow bananas. You're not building a team anymore. It's time to peel it off and start winning and eating those bananas. And you got to do that now by getting these players. The 11th overall pick, what does that get you? Are you on board with that? What do you think they should do?
It's funny. I was thinking about this yesterday, and then if they do draft a kid, this poor kid's going to come to town and he's going to like, no, nobody wants me here.
Right? Yeah.
Nobody wants me here. I mean, if they could package it with something, they should. I agree with the green banana, right? But of course, they need to do something to push forward. They probably should have done something like this back in 2016 when they drafted Alex Nylander. There was a deal for Cam Fowler or somebody, a defenseman or a forward or whatever. Like, Vegas doesn't pick in the first round. Florida doesn't pick in the first round. Pittsburgh spent a decade not picking in the first round. Once you get to a certain level where you're picking like 25 and later, which the Sabres are not right now, but once you get there, you might as well just trade that pick for some established player every single year. You don't actually need the draft for quite some time, given how late you pick. So 11th is a crapshoot more than the top 5 is. Yeah, I mean, I would package it. I would trade it. It's probably not worth that much, but it'll get a deal done. If you can find something, it'll get a deal done for you.
I don't disagree with that. And I know that, to me, this fan base is so starved that I think about the 06, 07. You guys talk about this a lot. That's Joe's wheelhouse. Joe growing up, 06, 07, that team. I do think that if they start winning, they'll come back. I do think we can replicate that in some way, shape, or form. But, man, it's so hard to get there. But I'm not one of these people who believes that, there's a fan base that's kind of just like it's dead in the water. I think you start winning, that'll happen.
Yeah, I think that happened last year.
Yeah, a little bit.
People got really into it last year. I can remember being out at your 50th.
Yep.
Right? Levi's first start against the Rangers.
My 50th birthday party, we were out at Pearl Street.
Yeah.
And some people couldn't make it because it was Levi's first start. They had to go to the game or cover the game in the media. But it was an awesome night. They won in overtime.
Yes.
They won in overtime. It was a great night. That was Friday.
And we were watching the game, and people were keyed in on him and like, he looks pretty good. He looks pretty good. Yeah. And when they won, that's cool. That's a huge room full of people that are ready to buy in. So that last 7 games last year from him was a good preview of what it'll become again. People kind of just ready to go. They were like that in the 10-game win streak. I can remember the videos from the world's largest disco. Reinhardt hit like a shootout overtime winner or something, and the place went nuts. So we're just waiting for, any sort of belief that they're going to make it anywhere. And last year that was close. So I think, Lindy, a decent start, and I think you've got that pretty quickly.
All right, before we let Jeremy go, we got Brian Koziol is going to come aboard and talk U.S. Brian's going to help me. You can maybe help me too. I got this pool. I got to pick like one from this group, two from this group.
Okay.
And I got to do this pools, and I don't know who to pick. And every time you see this first group, you're looking at it, I can only pick one. It's got to be Scotty, right? I messed up because I took last time I took John Rahm. He has withdrawn, I think.
Yeah.
But it's got to be Scotty, right? I get one from this group: Scotty Scheffler, Rory McIlroy, Xander Schauffele, Morikawa, Hovland, DeChambeau, Aberg, Koepka. Which one should I take? I'll employ
the same strategy I do in the NCAA tournament. Don't bet Duke to win. Everybody's taking Scheffler, right?
Yeah, but I didn't do that last time, and I was mad.
But if you take Scheffler, everybody that takes Scheffler, that's a wash. Now you got to win in the second and the third and the fourth groups. And that's tougher to do.
That is.
Take Morikawa. Take somebody like that. Take someone where if he wins, he could win it. He finished one behind Scotty last week.
Right.
I'm on Morikawa this week. Schauffele, I think, is a good get to. Like, Schauffele was the best to not win a major. He's broken through. Schauffele is a great bet. So it's not that I'm not picking Scotty, but I just don't think you'll win with that. It almost makes it moot.
You're play the game, not the player, right?
Yes. I don't want to have to win in group B, C, and D. I want my group A. If that hits, I'm going to win. So I'm going Morikawa.
Okay, so here's the last thing I want to ask you before we bring Brian Koziol, who let's see if he agrees or disagrees with you. I'm going to give you 3 words. You can talk for as long as you want, but I think you might be here a little too long by saying this. Ready? Bill's new stadium. Jeremy White, go. And I'm telling you, we're both there, but you go ahead.
I just tell everybody that'll listen, because some people are mad that it's going to be in Orchard Park and mad that it's going to be open air. And I just think people are going to be blown away with how incredible it is. It's like if your last car was a 1970 whatever, and then you step into one of these vehicles that does everything in the world, like, oh my goodness, I didn't even know cars did this. That's your life that's coming your way. So, it's going to be incredible. I've been sold on it from the start. I've been more sold on it since we toured the facility. Yep. We've seen a few more pictures than most of the public has seen. They're being really tight with the information. They've told us why, and I get all that. The prices, we'll see. I don't have all that information at this point, but I don't have any doubt that people are going to be completely blown away sitting in that stadium year one, looking around saying, I can't believe this place is real. I can't believe this is ours.
I've been to all but 3 NFL stadiums, and some of them that were built like in the early 2000s, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, they're newer. And I think, to me, people almost feel like, we're getting something like that. Oh, nice new stadium.
Yeah.
Nothing like that.
No.
Like, we're going to have one of the best stadiums in the league. We're not going from this 50-year-old thing that we have, this Highmark Stadium we have now. We're not going from A to E. We're going from like A to like, I don't know, X, Y, Z.
Right.
It's incredible.
It's a soccer stadium that's a football stadium.
Yeah.
It really is. And when they say it's modeled after Tottenham, I've not been to Tottenham. You have. Mm-hmm. How'd you like it?
Amazing.
I've been to Arsenal.
Awesome.
It's a soccer stadium, fully enclosed all the way up. That's soccer.
Yeah.
And it's going to be great. So I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to be in it. I've been sold on it from the start. I like open air. It's got a canopy. It's got radiant heat. The experience is going to be a different world. No more freezing in the concourse, waiting in the bathroom lines, deciding you have to run to the bathroom right now because it's 3rd and 7, and I think they won't get this, so I want to miss the first 3 plays of the next drive between the 360 view and everything else. Different life we're about to live.
No doubt. Morning show host, WGR Sports Radio 550, Jeremy White. Thanks for coming on Sal's House
Thank
today.
you. Anytime.
Absolutely. Thank you. All right, we got a good crowd out here. We're going to welcome Brian Koziol in next. And as I welcome Brian in, I want to remind everybody we have a couple sponsors here. And of course, we are here at 29's Kitchen Bar, 8230 Wehrle Drive in Buffalo. Come on by. It is just next to the Wehrle Golf Dome. So you want to come by, you want to hit some balls, you want to have some great food. It's awesome. Make sure you do that. That's where we are tonight. They're going to have live music. They have the 716 day face painting and bounce houses and all the things for the kids. You're going to have a great time. Thank you to our sponsors. And of course, another great place to go, have food, watch games, Sports City Pizza Pub. Thanks for being with me for so long here on Sal's House from the beginning. And our brand new sponsor welcoming tonight, Fans of Buffalo. They're going to take care of everything for you on your next Buffalo sports trip. Want to go to Seattle? Want to go to Houston? Want to go see the Jets on Monday night? Go to fansofbuffalo.com. They got your game ticket, your hotel, a chartered flight, your tailgate needs. You don't have to do anything, which is super cool. I'm kind of spoiled like that, Brian. I'm on the team charter, and I get to kind of have everything done for me. And if I didn't, I think that I'd be so spoiled. I just want to go to Fans of Buffalo and make sure.
Seattle's the trip this year for sure.
So, right?
I just went there last year, did a doubleheader in the same day. Did a Mariners game at 4 and a Seattle Sounders game at 7:30, right next to each other.
Yes.
Got to see both the ballpark, the baseball stadium, and the football stadium. They're both extremely impressive.
They're right next to each other, like you said. And the only time I've been to Seattle was the game and the Monday night game. The Bills almost won. And it was just a heartbreaker at the end. That was very frustrating. A very long flight home. Seattle's that like what other trip? Seattle's a great trip. What other trip looking for? Houston.
I think Houston. The game itself, I mean, you've got what on paper could be two AFC powerhouses, and you have the Diggs element too, that there's that layer to that. I think that's going to make that game really exciting. I've never personally been to Houston. That probably would be at the top of my list since I had just gone to Seattle. If you're asking me out of all the other places, I would say Seattle's the great trip. I also, when we went to Seattle, we also made it to Vancouver too. It's not that far. So if you want to make it a week, you can also go to Vancouver and also take in what I think. I would argue with people. I wouldn't argue against somebody that said that's the most beautiful city in North America. I think that I would back that claim up. I thought it was outstanding.
I'm going to give you another one, all right? Because we just had Chuck Nicosia on. He's a Yankees fan. He runs 29's Kitchen Bar. I'm a Yankee fan. Yankees are playing. I think they would be there. I hope they're there. The AL divisional round is the same weekend as the Bills are playing the Jets in New York City. So you go get Bills Jets in New York City, and you could see maybe the AL divisional round, Yankees playing at home.
And they should be in that.
I would hope so. And it's October. It's a great time to go to New York City.
Yes.
I think that's a great schedule. Thanks for coming by the way. Thank you. Brian Koziol here. He hosts the Tee to Green show on WGR. And of course, our Sabres pregame and postgame show. Let's start with the U.S. Open. It is tomorrow. Pinehurst. Yeah. Do you like when the U.S. Open's at Pinehurst?
I do, because it's a little bit different of a U.S. Open setup in the sense that it's not what we always think about with the U.S. Open, which is the narrowest of fairways, rough everywhere, penalizing spots everywhere that's not in the fairway or the green. For those that have played Pinehurst, and probably somebody that are watching right now that may have, it's a public venue. It's got different areas to see players get penalized. So they've got this year, for those that will be watching, that they have changed it from the course. They've got these like natural vegetation, kind of like little grass plants like popping up all over within the sand and the beach and what they would call the waste area. So that's I think going to make for us to have some interesting things in terms of when you miss the fairway, this ball could be sitting like on top of that grass. It could be sitting underneath it. I think guys might even go through and try to just destroy it as they hit through the ball. And then after that, it goes kind of into like just pine needles. Right. So I think that it won't be a traditional U.S. Open in the sense of, well, he misses the fairway by 5 feet and all of a sudden he's in rough ankle high. So I think we'll see a little bit different. And what I love about Pinehurst is what I remember, like even just growing up on the U.S. Open, these greens that are extremely punishing, that if you hit it in just the wrong spot, the ball comes all the way back down. It's kind of like those turtle dome shaped greens. We've seen that in the past with tournaments there before. So I think we're going to see some of those shots where you're like, that's a great shot. And then all of a sudden we're going to, and then down it comes all the way down the front. I think we're going to see that, which I think makes good television for all of us to watch.
No doubt. So I asked Jeremy this, you were listening to me. Do you agree with his strategy in the pool? Are you in these pools? I get one of these guys, Scheffler, McIlroy, Schauffele, Morikawa, Hovland, DeChambeau, Aberg, and Koepka.
I do, because if let's just say there's a decent amount of people in this, if you're saying you're only doing this with 4 other people, well, then maybe you take
There's
Scheffler.
Usually about
but if there's quite a few,
people,
you got to separate yourself somehow. And if you take Scheffler, in order to beat those other 90 people that are going to take Scheffler, then you've got to be perfect in almost all these other categories.
Right.
Whereas if you can find the guy that doesn't win in Group 1 that's not Scheffler,
now you've got a huge lead on probably 80% of the field that are going to take Scheffler. So I'm in agreement with Jeremy there. I love the Morikawa pick. I think, to me, if out of just looking over your shoulder there at that group, DeChambeau would be intriguing to me. He's been playing so well. Out of all the live golfers, to me, he's the only one to make the case for that he legitimately has a chance to win. He is such a tinkerer and a guy that is always trying to figure out a way within the rules to get the edge. He changed his 5-iron this week. He actually shaved it down to basically take the edges of them and basically get rid of the side so that his misses will be less penalizing. So that the chances of him making contact in those areas, he's taken the surface area down on it legally within the parameters.
He didn't shave it down. Jeremy and I saw the guys that shave it down for them. We went to that truck. We went to the back truck where they had the out here at Oak Hill.
Yeah.
And they had the PGA Championship. So Jeremy and I had somebody we know who gave us a little tour of kind of the all the stuff in the back and all the things that go on behind the scenes. You've been at these places. And they was the Callaway truck, right? Titleist. We went to the Titleist truck. And he says, this is literally like the pit crew for the golfers. You go in, and if the golfer says you have to tweak this or shave this or do that, or they literally give them the equipment and they just do all that for them. It's amazing.
It is amazing. You're right. Bryson didn't do it himself, but it was probably his number crunching idea.
But it is amazing they can do all that.
Yeah.
They said that week at the PGA Championship was even more so because of the weather and the surface, because it's different playing in maybe Florida in June.
Yeah.
Right. So these guys had to adjust their clubs more.
Yep. And understanding do I want more spin? Do I want less spin? All these sort of things go into their grooved, depth and all that sort of stuff. So there's a lot of science behind it. And we know, he's the mad scientist on the golf course. So.
All right. I'm gonna give you one more group. Here we go. Everybody help me out here. I got to pick one of these guys. Here we go. Tommy Fleetwood, Cam Smith, Patrick Cantlay, Justin Thomas, Max Homa, Matsuyama, Matt Fitzpatrick, Terrell Hatton, Tom Kim, Jordan Spieth, Shane Lowry, and Wyndham Clark. I only get one of them. Cantlay, we got a Cantlay in the audience. Okay.
Cantlay's steady. He hasn't been great as of late, but I could see him because he's kind of like a bull out on the course.
Best odds of this group is Fleetwood and Smith, and then it's Cantlay.
Yeah. Smith is a magician on the greens. So, how many times at the U.S. Open do we say, hey, that's a 10-footer that you got to make for par to kind of keep your round going? But, since he's gone to live, he has not been a factor in majors. He's top 10 at the Masters this year, but a quiet one. It's weird to see that most of the live guys that left at the top of their game, and I'll throw Rahm right at the top of that list, he's not even playing this week, have not really performed that great in the majors, other than Koepka and DeChambeau this year. Other than that, Dustin Johnson's done nothing. Cam Smith really has done nothing considering where he left. He left essentially at the peak. He was world number one essentially at that point when he left. Even some of the other kind of mid-tier names that we thought were going to vault up, they have done nothing in majors. I'm sure the PGA Tour is happy that, on the leaderboard, it's been a lot of these live guys are nowhere to be seen. And, I know that for star power wise, we want to see DeChambeau, we want to see Koepka, we want to see DJ. I want to see all these guys go up against the PGA Tour's best stars. We actually had some news this week too that said that they will announce on Tuesday that the PIF group, the one that the Saudi Grat group that essentially funds live, that they and the PGA Tour now do have an agreement. They're not going to announce it this week because they don't want to take away from the U.S. Open.
Right.
So, but look for Tuesday to there be a big update on this, that they are coming together and that financially there will be a route where they will be able to fund it, kind of all be in one umbrella.
Okay. Very cool. Be looking for that. So I'm going to tell everybody that's listening this here. This is true. Anybody's watching, anybody's listening, anybody who's out here. I played golf with Brian Koziol. We usually play a couple times a year, right? A couple times in the summer, maybe 2, 3, right? I have never played golf with Brian Koziol where he has shot over 80. You're always in the 70s. I don't think you've ever had an 80 or higher when I've shot with you. 79 may have been the tops. Maybe, if I think back, maybe you had an 80 or an 81 somewhere along the way. Last year, Pendleton Creek right here, of course you're representing on your cap. I saw you shoot 1 over on each side. You had a 2 over for the day. It was amazing. It was the best round I've ever watched. I didn't want to talk to you because you were so dialed in. I'm like, I am not messing this guy's roundup. It was unbelievable. When did that all start for you? When did you become a really good golfer? I think you're a really good golfer.
Thank you. I would say I started playing a lot in college. My roommate was a golfer, so he kind of just said, I'm going to go. It's a rarity to see anybody wake up at 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. on a weekend at a college campus. So I went to Brockport, so literally we're waking up and we have the whole kind of campus to ourselves, but we would go and we would play a lot of the courses around Brockport. And I would say we probably played every weekend or afternoon that we didn't have class that we possibly could. And I got really into it then. And when I was at Brockport as a part of the college radio station, and they had credentials to cover the LPGA event, that back then Rochester had an LPGA event every year at Locust Hill, and it ended up being a major on the ladies tour for many years in a row. That since has gone away. Unfortunately, they've gone to kind of bigger venues, bigger prize spots, but Wegmans was a big sponsor of it for a long time. But I remember my first taste of covering golf and wanting to maybe do something reporting broadcasting wise with golf was covering those LPGA events in Rochester at Locust Hill. And then when I eventually got the job at WGR, Bob Gaughan, who was the sports director at the time, who people may remember from early 2000s,
Mark Gaughan's brother, I believe.
Mark Gaughan's brother, correct. I told him, I said, hey, I have access to go to the U.S. Open 2002 at Bethpage Black at the time. And he's like, hey, I'll fill out the application. I'll sign it, that sort of thing. So we sent it in. I got accepted. And then I was like, all right, this is great. I want to cover golf and do that. So that kind of the broadcasting piece of me is doing that. And then Kevin Sylvester used to do a golf show on WBEN. He and I kind of got together and said, let's do one weekly on GR. And it's kind of taken off from there. And then playing wise now too, from being it on air, like it's just kind of fueled me to just play in as much as possible. So that is now my number one hobby.
And as I was just talking with Jeremy about having kids that keep you young, you have your son, Jack, he's playing golf now. That helps. So you get a chance to kind of go out there and play with him, which is super cool as a dad, but also gets you staying in the game.
Yes, for sure. It's the best father-son time ever. I love it. Being on the golf course together. He loves playing. I love the fact that he loves playing. And I mean, I'm getting to do something that I love, but at the same time, I'm getting to kind of share that with him together. So it's been really, really cool. He's 14. He's playing for his school team now, and it's so much fun. And he's old enough now that I can bring him out, and he's good enough too that most adults we play with, he's beating. So it's not even like I have to worry about bringing a kid out too. So he's hitting the ball great, and I love it. It's great.
And then you said how cool it is. Something I was thinking about today. How cool is it? A graduate of your high school, Lancaster High School, has signed a contract with the Buffalo Bills. Yes. Joe Andreessen, he's a linebacker. He was out there today with your former coach, Len Jankowicz. Yep. Coach Jankowicz was out there. I saw him. Eric Rupp, the current coach. I got a picture with them. I posted it on social at Sal Sports. How cool is it to see from Lancaster High School to UB, even a journey before that, to go off to New England to play some college football and now to the NFL?
Yeah, Lancaster's got a great football tradition. And I mean, because I know you worked high school broadcast games with Len Jankowicz. What a phenomenal man and a representation of what you want high school athletics to be about, even just beyond coaching Lancaster. Like he represents what we want high school athletes and to be coached wise. So yeah, a proud moment for sure that Lancaster has a kid there. I remember when I was playing like modified football at Lancaster, we had a running back by the name of Andre Cook. I thought he was the greatest player I've ever seen. Right. He went to Youngstown State to play football. That's pretty impressive, which is pretty impressive, but we've never had anybody like get to professional level. So, I mean, right now to see this, it would be amazing if he could somehow be a part of the Bills organization.
It's a great journey for him. Yeah. What's your biggest question about the Bills in 2024 for you, Brian Koziol? What are you most concerned about with this team right now?
I would say Joe Brady, full first year, and the offense, what's it going to really look like without a number one weapon? I'm hoping that they'll be good by quantity at receiver. I know that that's something that obviously, we've talked about forever. The tight ends, I expect to be massively both involved in the offense and the passing game, and for sure. And to really see now, can Allen function without having what we consider to be a top tier receiver? And if so, well, then maybe the Bills can be able to utilize finances elsewhere within the roster. So to me, I think that'll be, I think you always get, we talk about all the times with a coaching change, you get that buzz, especially it seems like with NHL, we always say that, like you get that initial bump, we'll call it, when you change a coach. Well, I'm sure with the offensive coordinator, the whole team just kind of had a new, fresh kind of outlook and take on things when Brady took over last year. And it carried over in the playoffs, I thought pretty good. Was the killer instinct and the big play threat there as much? It wasn't. I'm hoping that that's still going to be a piece of it, though. I know, like I'm hearing from the Chiefs now, hey, we're going to go back to just winging it, and we're going to throw it down the field. And Mahomes says, watch out, like the 60-yard bomb is back in play for us now. Like, I hope that because Diggs isn't there, not to say that Diggs was ultimately the threat in that spot, but I'm hoping that that they aren't going so conservative. The run versus pass mix and all that, I know we could debate all day of what's the right percentage and what's the right number. It's still about Allen making plays to me for all this offense being successful. I'm just hoping that they're not going to hamstring it enough that there isn't that big capability at any point, because Allen is so capable of making that at any play.
No doubt. He was really good today. He wasn't as good at day one of mandatory minicamp. Defense made some plays, but I thought he came out today with a purpose of like, oh, I'm not letting that happen again today. Yeah. Ball was just coming out of his hand. You've seen that with Josh, right? Ball just came out of his hand today. And right from the beginning, I'm like, oh, he's dialed in today. Like, and then he had 2 long deep balls, one to KJ Hamler, one to Claypool, which he had to go up and actually, Keon Coleman, which he had a contested catch. Brian Koziol, WGR Sports Radio 550. We're going to finish up with the Sabres because you are the Sabres pregame and postgame host. I have to publicly apologize to you. I want to apologize to you about something, okay? You're like, what do you, okay. So maybe about 7 years ago, we were just talking about the Sabres and our roles and what we're doing, WGR, and things happen back and forth, and you have ebbs and flows in your career, and you're a teacher, you're a full-time teacher, and you're staying up late nights doing Sabres pre and post game. The Sabres had not been in the playoffs. And I said, Brian, and you're like, I don't know, is it worth it? Like, I know I love my job. I love doing it. Should I keep doing it? Jack's young and I'm trying to raise him. Yeah. And I said, Brian, they're going to be good now. They have Jack Eichel and Evander Kane and Ryan O'Reilly. Don't leave us. Yes. They're going to be good. You're like, you're right. I'm going to stick with it for a while. I'm so sorry because they are, and we're back to kind of square one, but hopefully I'll say, Brian, don't leave. I know you won't. I'm kind of joking because it is something we've all been kind of in this spot with, hoping and wanting. Our professional relationship with us at the station, our fandom with them growing up, and now as professionals here and adults and our kids watching them. Yeah. We just need it so bad.
I struggle that my shows sound too similar, like professionally. This is my 17th season as doing post game, and I want to professionally not make it sound like I'm saying the same thing all the time. Yes, and right. I struggle with the fact that I feel like the conversation surrounding the team is so similar with just a new coach and a new set of players that I don't want people to get what the circle of us that work on the broadcast, we call Sabre fatigue. And I really hope that at least professionally, when people are listening, that they're not sitting here saying, Brian, you've said this 1,000 times, change the channel or turn it off. Like, I just like professionally, that's a struggle because of the fact that, do we have the right coach? Do we have the right GM? Do we need to make trades with the players? Are the star players not playing up to the capability? It seems like the conversation's been very similar every 2 to 3 years. It just cycles through. And I guess, for that part of it, for me professionally, I hope that we do get success so that the games are what matter, and that every night when callers call in and I read tweets from fans, we are not sitting here talking about the fact, do we have the right coach? Do we have the right GM? What trades do we have to make for the future? It's legitimately about the game that we're excited about, that we watched. And I'm hoping that maybe, as you and I have said, maybe this is the year. Maybe this is the year.
I know.
Can we actually sit here where we're talking about the game every night? Because it means so much in the standings that we're not sitting there thinking about, do they have the right coach? Do they have the right GM? Who do we have to trade for the future?
No doubt. And what do you think about that? Do you think that maybe this could be it? And I would like to, because you grew up here. Do you remember Lindy Ruff playing? You're almost my age. You're not quite.
I would say I remember that he was a player. I'm sure I've watched a game with him playing. So I guess, yes. And
we went to, we were in the store the other day. I think we were at the mall. We were at Dick's, and at Dick's Sporting Goods right now, they have Lindy Ruff 22 jerseys on sale. Right. And I'm like, Max says, Dad, why do they have a Lindy Ruff jersey? He's the coach. And I go, buddy, that's how I remember Lindy Ruff, right? Yeah. This nostalgia that Jeremy talked about before. How can you not root for and want Lindy? But look, I mean, like, there's no guarantee this is going to work. They've been through a lot of these guys before. I'm holding out hope. It is a bit nostalgia for me, but what's your thoughts on Lindy coming back and being the guy here?
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I think if you heard what all the players said coming out of their exit interviews at the end of the season, they talked quite a bit about accountability, which is odd because you didn't hear that once during the time that Don Granato was here. I truly think they liked Don Granato, and they didn't want to throw him under the bus. Right. But I think now that once he was gone, they were able to maybe answer a little bit more freely. They were looking for that. I think Granato probably gets credit for being a wonderful teacher, a good developer, but maybe game prep, all the things that go into that too, the intangibles category. I think Lindy checks a lot of those boxes, and also has an impressive resume of winning, not only in Buffalo, but in Dallas. He got a team very far in the playoffs. New Jersey last year had a team that was a Stanley Cup possibility. You know, this year he had a ton of injuries. Down to his fourth goalie. I thought him getting let go this year by the Devils, it was way too quick of a move. You can even see Travis Green took over. They didn't do anything else. They kind of just stood right where they were in the playoffs. So I don't think Lindy was the issue in New Jersey. And there also definitely brings a little respect in the sense that like he does have this like certain command and presence around him. And, you know, even just hearing him on the radio, I remember when I first started doing post-game shows that many years ago, it was must listen to radio when Lindy talked after a big game, or we'd hear from Ryan Miller, or we'd hear from Drury or Briere. Like, I'm just hoping that maybe it'll be like that again here with him, in the sense that he's bringing kind of a mentality to this organization now that's a little bit more professional, holding players a little bit more accountable. And I think when you saw John Granato do even just a little of that at the end of last season, it was working.
Yeah.
They got better at it. The players are even talking about that. So hopefully that'll carry through now, and Lindy will just pick up right where it left off. All
right, last question, because I'm sure everybody wants to know, what is it like working with Rob Ray on such a nightly basis almost?
Oh, my. First of all, the best nights are the nights that it's radio only, because literally he's as close to Sal and I are, only separated by a pane of glass.
That's right, yes.
The TV booth is right next to us, in the radio booth, we're only separated by just a pane of glass. The amount of things that he does expression-wise, I cannot say right now here, to just try to distract us, to try to make it a fun night for us. It is great. Now, you know, the home nights, Dunleavy's the only one that's really next to us because he's down in between the benches. But we see him before the games. We usually chat quite a bit. I can usually get about 2 serious minutes out of Rob in terms of like, tell me a little bit of what you think for tonight, that sort of thing, to help me kind of give me some extra insight. And then it usually just turns into a joke show the rest of the time.
He is the nicest dude, though, isn't he?
Super nice.
He's incredible.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know he was like, he made his living punching people in the face.
Zero ego, too.
It's incredible.
Yeah. That's the part I love about it.
My 3 favorite Rob Ray, and I should bring him on. I should have him on here for sure. But my 3 favorite Rob Ray facts are: number 1, he scored in his very first shift in the NHL ever.
Yep.
Right. Number 2, he was traded for future considerations that nobody ever got anything back for. So he literally was given away for nothing. And number 3, and this is the most amazing fact, and I'm not kidding you, he never lost a tooth playing hockey, despite getting punched in the face many times.
It's amazing.
Never lost a tooth. Never got hit with a stick. He has like perfect teeth. He's like, I never lost a tooth playing hockey. It's unbelievable.
How many players have a rule named after him too? Remember,
you got the Rob Ray
remember
rule.
The shirt?
That's right.
He used to always have it loose underneath, and it wasn't tightened and tucked and pinned to his jersey so it could come off. Because a big part of hockey fighting is you can grab onto the shirt, and that was kind of how you could hold your spot. Well, there was nothing to grab on. That's why Rob took it off every single time, and then they made it illegal.
And of course, you have a great crew that you work with over there, and Dan's awesome. And it's always hard to follow RJ. Does anybody like RJ, sure. Right? I mean, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah, I mean, having Rick in the booth just for so many years was great. Also, very little ego at all, you know, in terms of that. You know, you'd look over sometimes. I mean, part of the reason I loved being a broadcaster was listening to Rick growing up as a kid. And some nights I had to remind myself, like, yeah, it's pretty cool. Like, he's in the booth right next to me right there. Though that RJ night, his last game night, all those sort of things, like it was definitely emotional to be up there and be a part of the broadcast. And then as soon as he signs off, like, I've got to start talking. So I got to make sure that I'm emotionally ready to go too in that spot, because, you know, we all were feeling it, like in that moment of just how much respect and love that we have for RJ as a broadcaster. So yeah, those nights were fun for sure. And regardless of what the team was doing at the time, like those are nights that it's worth being up there, you know, by a billion for sure.
Hey, I'm glad you're still part of all the broadcasts. I'm glad you never.
Thanks for talking me into it.
Yeah, you got it. Brian Koziol, WGR Sports Radio 550, Sabres pre and post game host, and also host Tita Green. What do you guys got going on this week or upcoming for the summer? 2 hours this week. We do 2 hours for Majors Week, so we'll be on from 7 to 9 on Saturday morning, and then every Saturday throughout the summer, 7 to 8. So hope everybody can tune in. Awesome. Thank you very much. All right. That is Brian Koziol. Go say hi, get a beer, and drink on me. All right? All right. You got it, because we're at 2 Nines Kitchen Bar. Thank you very much for everybody for having us out. Thank you all for coming. I really appreciate it. We had a crowd out here tonight. Awesome. Chuck Nicosia, thank you for having me. Justin, everybody here at 2 Nines. Jeremy White, thank you so much for coming out. Want to thank our sponsors, of course, Sports City Pizza Pub, 1407 Niagara Street. Look, if you're out here in the where are we? Williamsville, Amherst, Clarence area, come out here to the Wehrle Golf Dome. Come out to 2 Nines Kitchen Bar, 8230 Wehrle Drive, Buffalo, New York, Williamsville. Like, that's the actual physical address. If you're in the city, I live over in the city. Sports City Pizza Pub is a great spot to watch all the games, pizza, wings, everything. So thank you for 2 Nines Kitchen Bar for having us out. Thank you to Sports City Pizza Pub for being a sponsor. Of course, Fans of Buffalo. Want to remind you, everybody, Fans of Buffalo, all of your travel package needs for your Buffalo Bills game day and road trip. Jeremy, you going on a road trip this year? Where are you going? Nowhere yet? I know. Well, you might make it a little difficult after you're gonna have another baby on your hands, right? But I know Jeremy might be looking into that, going somewhere. If you're looking into it, fansofbuffalo.com. They're gonna take care of. Go ahead. Oh my God, you're going to Prague. Brian just said Sabres open the season in Prague. It's gonna be Lindy against his former team, the New Jersey Devils, going to Prague. That's amazing. That's great. So we're gonna have to talk about that. Hey, how about that? Fans of Buffalo. Maybe they'll set something up for Prague with the Buffalo Sabres. Go to fansofbuffalo.com. If you're looking to go one of the trips, doesn't matter. Seattle, Houston, New York. Bills are going to Indy. They're going to LA. They'll take care of everything you need as far as the chartered flight, hotel, game ticket, tailgate needs, all your food. Fansofbuffalo.com. Thank you to 2 Nines Kitchen Bar once again. Awesome being out here. Hoping you do it again. Don't forget 716 Day. They're going to have all a bunch of stuff going on for all the kids. Wehrle Golf Dome. Come out, have golf, play golf, have fun. 2 Nines Kitchen Bar. Thanks a lot for watching Sal Sports.